Good evening everyone and welcome to the 11th round already of Cone Racing League Tier 3 here. We arrive in the deserts of Abu Dhabi on the Yas Marina circuit for what usually is a season finale, of course, in real life, but now it is round 11 with 4 rounds to go. Last time out in Austria we saw an epic battle for the lead between the little one and Quick Killer himself, Makoni as well, being involved in that. So a 3-horse race to the finish line with the little one coming out on top. He is again the first one out on track as well, but he came out on top in Austria to reduce the gap that Quick Killer has at the top of the championship, although the Aston Martin still has 84 points lead over the Ferrari man in second. So it is going to be a very tough thing to bridge, of course, for the little one, but he is gonna try to do his best. Get the first one out in qualifying. I expect there will be no rain, since of course it is Abu Dhabi in the deserts. Rain isn't really a common thing here. We had one driver change as well. Well, we should have had a full-time driver change for today, but I don't know where Sadistic went, where he is, or what he's doing right now, but he surely isn't on the grid. He has changed, he has taken over from Mark Wilson in the Alpine, and that is of course as well why Cyril Nacho is the sole Alpine runner today. Two reserves as well. Gauthier Lefelon is back on the grid in the Williams. And he is replacing Mazzels, who of course is a front runner as well here. But I expect Sadistic King, as he formerly was known, can put up a bit of a fight as well. And the other reserve is Fake Skouser in the Mercedes. He replaces Jay Wills as the Mercedes misses another race. For last week he of course had a race ban, joined me for commentating, but now he is away and not on the grid. Mark Wilson, indeed, he dropped to a reserve, so he's no longer racing here, unfortunately, as the little one is already on his lap. In the first chicane, it really is Gauthier Lefelon. I was just talking about him, but he dropped it in sector 1 already, so that's our first retirement of the evening. Let's go quickly on board. Cliffview just went past it, but he just dropped the car in turn 3 on the right hand side. That just dropped it. The traction fully gone away, probably went onto the curb a bit too much, a bit too long, and that has cost him a lot in this qualifying session. He will start last unless other drivers of course make mistakes as well, get disqualified or crash out as well, just not getting a lap in. It's also a possibility for them. The little one looking like he is gonna get a lap in, and indeed he is, as he rounds now the final corner in third gear. Takes it pretty nicely. What's he gonna do? A 37.0. Of course, with Abu Dhabi it's not really a common track on racing Canadas in leagues, so I don't expect drivers to have much preparation for this one. And league racing on its own, of course, they all did some time trial, did some short quali sessions as well. Just before this, Leon was complaining about Quick Killer's pace once again, but we're probably used to Quick Killer being one of the fastest guys here, as Leon himself currently finds himself in P1. But of course only Q1, as well as Nacho blasts that time away over 4/10 faster than the Red Bull, as now there's a Haas of Makoni coming across the final corner, and he goes into P2 only a 10th behind Nacho, with a purple last sector as well for the Haas driver. Goes straight away for another run, as there's a yellow flag just in front of him. Slight lift there through turn 3, just didn't want to make the same mistake as Gauthier Lefelon did. The teammate of Makoni, KXI, has gone on to professional P1 here. Makoni just went around the section that is of course changed in real life and will be changed for next game as well, but unfortunately they didn't have the time to implement it in this this version of the game is Rory Huntsman with a 36.1. Is currently P1 and AlphaTauri. Next across the line, that's Jacko. Where's he gonna go? Invalidated his lap time. Would have been a 36.9. So ahead of the likes of Christopher, the little one with his second lap, first drive into the 35s. Both Aston Martins there on outlaps, so let's stay on board with Wild Dog, who is in the last sector. This corner as well, of course, changed in the real life, but that outside curb on this game is very tricky. If you just put a wheel over that one, as the little one makes it a Ferrari 1-2 for the moment, but if you just put a wheel a little bit to the left of that curb, your car would just blast itself into Narnia, into the wall on the right, and you'll most likely lose a tire, or at your front wing if you're lucky. Christopher improves his time by 3/10, but only manages to go into P8. The likes of Fandango as well, setting a lap time, still on a lap time, was slightly down in the middle sector, but maybe he knows there's some time to find in the last sector. Let's see where he can go, and indeed he found some time, but not enough to improve his position. Stays in P7. Does the Williams. That guy Draper just around the first chicane as well. Chicanes of turn 8 and 9, and now heading into sector 3, I think. Indeed it is. Double chicane and very tricky left-hander to get right, and now a very long right-hander into a big braking zone. You have to manage to get your steering wheel straight, otherwise it will be a very big lockup and you will just miss the apex of the corner by a big margin. But he manages to indeed keep his car very nicely on the racing line. On to turn 21 now, the last turn on this track as well. Using the curb on the outside and goes into P10, but not too far off of the likes of Christopher and Fandango, of course, just in front of him. The early pace setters, the little one, Wild Dog, so both Ferraris looking strong here. As we see just ahead of us, Wild Dog, we were on board with him, and Tomo Tiptop has had a bizarre crash there out of one of the last turns, and I think he was even on his in-lap. Wild Dog going to retire. AFL as well spun just next to Tomo Tiptop, so it's looking like that last turn, indeed with that curb on the outside, it's looking like it's already got a few casualties. Fandango now coming across the scene. He takes it very nice and slowly. Don't want to get caught out by that curb. So there's already 2 retirements. Tom Tiptop and Gauthier Leflon on different part of the tracks. 2 victims already claimed by this track in Q1. Let's see if the drivers can keep it a bit more clean throughout the rest of this qualifying session. And talking about keeping it clean, Dragon on Speed certainly wasn't doing that, but he manages at least to keep it out of the barriers and keep his McLaren intact. Only his tires taking a bit of a knock on that spin. Vic Scouse as well letting, I think that's indeed Draper, letting him by, but Draper then invalidates on the next corner, where of course Latifi had his famous incident in last edition of the actual real life Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Wild Dog as well, knowing he's safe for Q2. Riordan going very close to the curb on the left, but he manages to keep his car straight, goes into P12 with a 56.6, so that of course isn't gonna be enough. So let's watch on board with him as he now rounds turn 1 and 2 to full throttle. A slight lift though through turn 3 as well, and he does the same as Dragon on Speed and Gauthier Leflon already did. Took the inside curb of turn 3 just that little bit too much, and his car was sent spinning around, and he will be probably going into the garage, as his tires will be more than dead after those spins. Quicker now is in the 3rd sector, and he is probably gonna shoot right up there on top of the timing screens, although he is not really looking to be fully pushing, but maybe that can be just his driving style and me seeing that wrong. Turn 21, and considering his high ERS percentage as well, indeed he wasn't really pushing. A 36 only, a 43 actually, as the time came in pretty late for Quick Killer, but he Slight lift indeed through turn 1 as well, but he manages to take the curb on the inside of turn 3 and not lose the car. Now into the chicane, which isn't a chicane anymore. Turn 7, the hairpin in second gear, upshifting to third for the good traction onto this long straight. It can be, of course, probably will be one of the main overtaking positions where we will in the race, but then of course straight right after it, after one chicane. So that opens the possibility for drivers to probably think strategically about their overtakes before they actually go flying past their competitors and then just see them flying past them again on the straight where quickly is now. Sector 2 detection point of 58.0. It isn't purple, but I think it's a pretty handy time indeed. As he now goes into the basically triple right-hander. Manages indeed to keep the car nice and straight for the braking. Down to third and up to fourth again. A lot of gear changes here. Down to third for the rotation and then back up to fourth for the traction under the hotel. Turn 21 now. Cut the curb on the inside pretty nicely. Didn't use all of the track. He could have. I don't think that time is really representative, and indeed it isn't. It took a while to actually show the time, but it is a 35.8 for Quickler. He goes on top of the leaderboard. As of now, Murphy was 6 tenths slower than Quickler through the second sector, but it can still be around P8 if he manages to really get a nice last sector around lap P8, P9, P10, probably where the AlphaTauri is gonna go, but he probably made a bit of a mess out of the last sector and he is only P15 just behind his teammate. Both not really safe at the moment with a 36.8. And Jacko here got a very nice slipstream from Quickler. The Indian driver probably realizing too late that there was actually a car on the lap behind him. I think Jacko is gonna have to go into the pit lane considering he is very low on fuel and his tires are old as well. KXI retiring as Leon goes into P5. If KXI is safe, of course Leon will be as well. A lot of drivers on the actual lap now. Jericho as well was down in the second sector. I don't think he is gonna actually finish that lap. AFL though, he came across the line with a 39.9. Still hasn't updated. Maybe he's just starting his lap time. That can also be the case. Took a lot of inside curb on turn 1 and a bit too much as well on turn 2. And that is gonna cost him the qualifying session. Starting in P19 with a big crash out of turn 2 a bit earlier than we saw some other drivers, but it's still a tire of the car. Jacko actually finished his lap and he is gonna limp now to the garage on low fuel and all tires as well, just getting into the rhythm, probably getting past the car of AFL as well. Murphy probably gonna do the same as his teammate, as Draper is again on his outlap. Probably one of the drivers still at risk. Same can be said for Riordan, being down in P17. 3 retirements though, they only need a better lap time than 37.6 to get into P16. Then it's only gonna be one driver getting knocked out who actually was able to send a representative lap time, if of course Riordan manages to do just that. 17.6 in the first sector, 6 seconds improvement already, but of course he's gonna need a hell of a lot more than that. Probably backed off on his lap somewhere in sector 2 or sector 3. And he's now looking of course to get into the top 15 at minimum. Probably looking for a bit more, bringing around 100 meters there, going down to second. Cut it pretty nicely, must say, there through turns 8 and 9. This here count as well as a turn 10, and then it's going to be the chicane for turn 11, 12 and 13. Purple middle sector, so that indicates he's good on his way to at least go into Q2. Keeps it nicely on track there. Not invalidating, but also not being too safe. Just using the curb where he can. As well, a bit of inside curb taken, hit the apex nicely, a little bit wide there. But that's shouldn't cost him too much because he took this corner very nicely. Penultimate corner now in 5th gear. Stay clear of the sources curb on the left. Last corner. And where is he gonna put it? That's Alfa Romeo. It is only P14. So those three drivers, Riordan, Jacko and Murphy, really need to put an actual good lap time in, because they're the only ones in the 8th right now. Draper wanting to go into the 6 as well, but he goes even better with a 0.4 into P9. That is probably gonna secure his spot in Q2. Of course, made his debut here in Tier 3 last time out in Austria, and as he loses the car, he doesn't want to hit the wall, and he manages to indeed keep it on track. Didn't lose his tires, so that's good for him. Probably not really suffered too much from that. But indeed, Draper not making it through to Q2 last time out in Austria, after being demoted from Tier 2 down to Tier 3. And he's now, at least in Q2, probably Fandango indeed in the pit still, as is Jacko. So Jacko, it is gonna be a battle of AlphaTauris once again. It was last week, and it is, and history is repeating itself, with Murphy and Jacko battling it out for that last spot into Q2. Jacko being on an outlap right now, but he probably is just a bit too late. That time of around 140 an outlap. If the times want to show again. We're going very slow in the last sector, so there is a yellow flag for that. I can't really see the time. Murphy is starting his lap time now, and he really needs to go faster, but only 8,000 though. So as long as he doesn't invalidate, I think he is probably the one to go through to Q2 out of both AlphaTauris. Keep it flat through turns 2 and 3. We're not really seeing too many drivers do that. Be 35 seconds only left, so Jacko probably isn't gonna make it. A slight bit of wheel spin though, coming out of the chicane for Murphy. Good traction though on the exit of the hairpin, and that is of course the most important bit, as you have a long straight here into a heavy braking zone of turn 8. 100 meters braking, very nicely done. Getting the car rotated as well to get this exit correct. The flag has fallen for the likes of Jacko, so it's either Jacko or Murphy, as he now improves by 2/10, and that is gonna be enough by, well, over 2/10 as well, as the left times are just very close right now. But he just needs to make sure he doesn't make a tit of this last sector, especially the hotel sector. You can invalidate there, we've seen it before as well in this qualifying session. The penultimate corner, the last corner, everywhere lurks a bit of danger of invalidating, but Murphy's still keeping it nicely on track, steering clear on that inside curb, and therefore he just hit the last curb, the orange surface curb on the outside, but it is enough for Murphy. Goes into P9. That is qualifying 1 wrapped up. Murphy with not the best of the last sectors, probably not his best effort we are gonna see from the Englishman in the AlphaTauri, but a 36.3 is well enough to get him through to Q2. The drivers being knocked out, AFL and Gauthier Laflon, both not being able to settle lap time after crashing out in turn 2 and turn 3 respectively for them. Thomas Tiptop as well, the penultimate corner caught him out. He hit the barrier just too hard to keep his car intact. He will start P17 unless some grid penalties are gonna happen in front of him, which is very unlikely of course. Jacko in P16 just missing out on the qualifying 2 with 0.06 of a second to Riordan. Just very close. In this qualifying 1 session, even though the track is more than 5.5 kilometers long, 21 corners indeed to gain or lose time here. And Jacko just lost a bit too much, unfortunately for him, but K2 now is gonna get on the way in a couple of seconds, as probably the little one is gonna be the first one to go out again. I'm gonna already select him, and indeed he is one of the first on medium tires. to go out, and that's probably indeed the best strategy. Just on medium tires, too soft, and then to the end. That will be the best, but it will be hard to make it through to Q3 on mediums, as I just have a lot of less grip on this track compared to the softs. In Austria, of course, it was doable with a short track. We've seen the likes of Quick Killer post a very impressive lap time in Austria on mediums, but I don't think it is just gonna be that close here with the tires. More and more drivers now going out on the outlap. Let's see what tires everyone has selected, and indeed it is most drivers on mediums. Of course, not everyone out of the pit lane yet. Fandango is indeed hanging out on mediums as well. Nacho as well. Quick Killer will probably go out on mediums as well. We've seen him take a risk plenty of times this season, where he just sit in the garage until around 5 minutes and then goes out on medium tires. Take the risk, but if of course the track is going to be faster towards the end of qualifying, so it is a risk, but it's probably the best time to set a lap on mediums if you're certain you have the pace, of course, to go into Q3 with mediums. The little one burning a bit of his fuel in the last sector, just staying in second gear so his car can be as light as nimble as possible, getting a good exit out of the final corner, as he is once again the first one to start their lap time into turn 1, just bringing after the 100 meters yellow flags, but that is just for the Haas car of KXI going a bit slowly into sector 3, keeping it nicely at full throttle to turn 3 and 17.4 for the little one in the first sector. That's not too shabby at all, considering he's on mediums. It looks like he's indeed using all of the track that this layout is giving to him, opening up his rear wing. Already fast as well, at 300 kilometers an hour. Up on board with the Draper, just wanting to see what he could post in the first sector, but he has already invalidated his lap time. KXI goes purple with a 17.3, but on softs, and it's only a 10th faster than the little one on mediums, although sector 1 is basically one actual corner where you need to brake, and then it's turns 2 and turn 3, which, if taken correctly, are just flat out. It's not really too big of a difference in sector 1, sector 2 and sector 3. Of course, the more technical of the sectors, with sector 2 having a big chicane at the beginning and followed by a hairpin, then it's just two big straights with a chicane in between. So there is where you can see the horsepower of a car as well, who has put more or less wings. Of course, with less wing you're gonna have less drag, then be faster in sector 2, as McConey goes faster than the little one by only 200 though, but he is currently on P1. Riordan just making it out to Q2, and he is quite a bit away from those front runners. Draper now, he has invalidated his lap time, so he won't do an actual lap. It was a 37.9, so he probably backed out. KXI indeed goes fastest of them all on the soft drive, on the soft tires, what you would have expected from him. Wild Dog on mediums in the last sector is Nacho, but the difference is Nacho is actually on a lap. So let's see what the Alpine can do, carrying the France flag on his own today. Didn't really make too much use of that curb on the inside of the last corner, but it is still a pretty solid lap time with a 0.6 for him. Fandango now, where can he go? He goes into 6th with not a representative lap time. He backed out somewhere during that lap, or just made a pretty big mistake. Lille now really on the edge there with both the inside and outside curb. If you take a bit more inside curb, you're invalidating the lap, and if you take a bit more outside curb, you're just yeeting your car into the barrier on the right. But he goes P1, just ahead of KXI with only 600s again between them. Vexkauser putting a purple first sector, promising signs from the Mercedes. Dragon Speed starting his lap time as well. I think that is Draper coming through sector 3 now. He is on the lap, managed to not invalidate it this time around. Keeps it clean as well through the last two corners. Where can he go? He goes P5. Pretty good lap time on the mediums, to be fair. Only with pretty close to Marconi, who is right now, of course, the fastest medium runner. Well, he was until Rory Huntsman came through and went P3 on the mediums with a 36.1. But Rory Huntsman as well, he lost it on turn 2. Just a little bit of that inside curb, just kissing the curb, and that has proven to be not really an optimal strategy, as you more than likely lose the car and go into the wall. I've seen it happen twice now as well. Rory Huntsman, real shame he has shown his pace on that medium lap. The little one on softs already. But Rory Huntsman is out of qualifying. Of course not the first we've seen crash out, but I don't think it will be the last. Not one who I was expecting, at least. Vexkauser has just put a lap time good enough for P9 at the moment. A 37.1 and slightly down through the first sector, so there's probably still some margin for improvement, as his last sector was purple, of course, his first sector on his lap, so only 300s behind. Won't be too disastrous for him. Dragon Speed goes into P7 with a 36.6. A very cheap 0.6 though, of course, only being 1000 away from the 7s. This guy's really hugging the left hand side of the curb just to minimize his distance that he needs to travel. 2 tenths down though, so he probably made a mistake somewhere during sector 2. The lap is not over yet. He is also gotta be aware of his fuel. If he chooses to just see the line now, he will probably have a moment of complete rest from his car, because he will just go into low fuel mode, and indeed goes over the finish line in just a moment. Does he improve his position? No. Yes, he does actually. It said it stayed in P11, but big time found from Vexkauser in the last sector. He was down 2 tenths, but still manages to improve by almost 8 tenths. So he can even go faster, probably into P3 with mediums. One of the fastest on mediums we've seen so far. But we of course don't know for certain if all the other drivers, like Waldog here, have put their optimal lap times. Waldog indeed improving already by more than a tenth. That will probably be enough for around P7 if he manages to keep this up. Dragon Speed goes into the pit. Vexkauser just ahead of us will follow him as he has invalidated. So now only Waldog really on the lap as he rounds this corner very nicely indeed. On the second big straight, found a little bit more time in the second sector, not too big, but it is still some time found. A bit wide there. He manages to keep it on track, probably carried a bit too much speed into the corner and just went out a bit too wide onto the curb, lost a little bit of time. If he can recoup that in the final sector, he won't have anything to complain about. That's the big question though, if he can find some time in that last sector. He probably will go on to softs at the end, but he does go into P5, just 3 thousandths ahead of Vexkauser and 4 thousandths ahead of that guy Draper. They are really close to one another, only 4 thousandths separating 3 drivers here. Of course, lovely to see. Good promise for the race once again, although it usually spreads out a bit more in the race than it does in qualifying, with drivers making mistakes. Just, yeah, making one little mistake, you lose a DRS, and then it's just the power of the DRS train that every driver ahead of you is just going away into the distance. You'll never see him again, unless of course there's a safety car. Keksa now on his second run of the soft tires, slotting a new set of those, making it through out of Q1 with only one set used. So he can do it. He will have a fresh set for the last qualifying session as well. McConey has chosen to take the gamble and retired the car already. He has only put a lap time on the mediums, but he probably really wants to start on the mediums, so he has taken the gamble to go to be certain he starts on the mediums. KXI posting the purple first sector, going a little bit wide though just after that, but it shouldn't be too much of a time loss for the Haas driver. Most of the time of course being found in the third sector, which is one of the longest and the one with the most corners as well. Accelerating out of turn 9 with in third gear, but Murphy, I think that was on his outlap even, or just posting his dragon speed, giving us a lovely feel there. But another driver crashing out in the first sector, turn 3 it was this time. Murphy as well will be starting P15, just right next to his teammate in the AlphaTauri, P15 and P16. That is for those guys already the third victim we've seen there, and even more spins in turn 3, turn 2 as well, proving to be a very tricky corner to get right. Kexaido is getting those corners right as he is. The last corner now as well looked very good for him. He probably is gonna improve indeed by over 2 tenths. Goes onto P1 with Wild Dog retiring there as well. Keksa is very safe off Q2's build, but it is on the soft tires, not really too much drivers choosing to go on the soft tires. Let's see if they've fitted it on now. Some indeed have, but as he usually does, Quick Killer is on medium tires at the end of qualifying too. And the pressure is all on him now. Usually with that pressure he is gonna make it through, but it isn't always 100% guarantee that we will be seeing our championship leader in qualifying 3. But even so, if he qualifies around P11, P12, we know he has the race pace to get back up there. It's only gonna be a bit more tricky to navigate his way through the midfield. Indeed, Dragon, learning from his fellow countryman Sebastian Vettel, is to check on the drivers. Nice gesture from him. Quick Killer looking to probably go into the low 36s. Best time on me this far is a 0.3, but we know Quick Killer has the pace to go underneath that. Question if he can actually do it out of the final corner right now. Where does he go? It doesn't show it for me just yet, but it is P1 from him on medium tires, so that just confirms his pace once again. Over a second faster than Fandango, who of course isn't a slow qualifier either. Fakes, I think that was Christopher just going into P13 or starting his lap time. Geka Draper as well, he is again on those medium tires and he is starting his lap time. Nacho is starting his lap time. There is a Haas car round on the final couple of corners, and it was KXI, but he doesn't need to worry about anything. He's through anyway. Leon starting his lap time. Riordan in the meanwhile has gone to P4, struggling to make it out of Q1, but probably making it through to Q3. Just shows that you need to be there when it matters. Fake Skouser is not being able to set a quicker lap time. Neither is Draper. So they are looking to be knocked out here, as Dragon of Speed couldn't set another lap time either. He is out of qualifying, just couldn't get that second run in. Christopher is slightly down, probably still time to be found in the last couple of sectors. Fandango has invalidated his lap time, so he is out as well. So that's only two drivers that can improve their lap time. Fix Kause is one of the drivers that is through on the mediums, as is Wild Dog. The little one, Makoni, Quickler, all on those medium tires, making it through. Nacho though is improving right now and is looking to probably knock Draper out. I think if he improves his lap time over Draper, Draper will go into P11 because Rory Huntsman has set a better lap time than him. I'm still not really sure how that works, but it is what it is. That probably has something to do with it. Let's just stick on board with Kiss Review as he heads into the pit. So it's only Nacho that can put a dent into this qualifying session of that guy Draper. Goes pretty wide through the penultimate corner, but it shouldn't be too big of a time loss. Where does Nacho go? He goes into P3 and indeed knocks Draper out. Only 1,000 for the Aston Martin. The gap between being knocked out in P11 or making it through to Q3. Leon putting a lap time on the board that is fast of all, doesn't really matter, but he just wants to show that he's there as well and not just not has given up yet on the championship. With only 4 rounds left, it is tricky of course to catch up. Currently P1 with a big gap as well to the drivers behind him. The big gap is there, but between P6 and P11 it's basically nothing, only 0.03 of a second separating 5 drivers. Once again qualifying very close in the midfield though. Again it is Quickler looking probably to be the fastest driver out of anyone, with an impressive medium run once again. He did it in Austria, but he did it in Abu Dhabi now as well. As Leon is the fastest though out of them all on soft tires. Only 4 drivers on soft tires making it through. Leon, KXI, Nacho and Riordan being those that have to start the race on the softs. And Quickler, Makoni the little one, Wild Dog and Felix Kause, although very marginal, they make it through on the medium tires. Warrior Huntsman and Decker Draper. Well, Warrior Huntsman would have been through as well, but he just crashed out, proving to be the end of qualifying for him. Then it was Dragon on speed, Christopher and Murphy also being knocked out and just not being able to reach that final shootout for pole position in the top 10. The sun is now fully set as well, so it is fully dark with only the custom lights here around the track. Of course it has its touch as well. He indeed Strauss, he was this fast on mediums as well in Q2 in Austria, but then he just couldn't convert it to pole when it really mattered, and he really wants to change that today and actually get pole position this time round. Especially of course after a perfect round from the little one, securing 41 points and the pole. Really couldn't do anything better probably that race. Both drivers very close to each other on their outlaps. The little one for a change, not the first one out of the pit lane, but he is at the front of that queue. One of the first. Nacho and Makoni. Nacho almost overtaking Makoni into turn 8, but just edging out, not really wanting to fight in qualifying of course for track position. Makoni though, he will be the first one to go out and set a lap time. Strickman has left the session. I'll quickly invite him back, as he already has joined, so there's luckily no need for that. But to see him being back in time probably as well for the race, with more than 10 minutes on the clock for Q3. Come just under the hotel of Abu Dhabi. Let's go on board with him for a lap and just watch as he goes around the track of Yas Marina Island for a hot lap in Q3. He's setting a 36.0, not too bad of lap time. Quick Killer is the next casualty of turn 3, but he has managed to keep it out of the barriers, just gone for a spin, but he, of course, not really able to settle lap time on this particular run. Neither was Wild. He is currently in last out of every driver that has set a lap time, but with a 47.1, not really a lap time that is representative for his pace. Just Jet, Quick Killer and McConey though both has drivers being far up the field. Only 200 separating those two, currently in a 1-2. The little one and Wild Dog playing a bit of team games here, and a beautiful toe given by the little one to Wild Dog that is really gonna make a huge benefit on the sector 2 time of Wild Dog. Little one Joe just gone out of the way a bit too early for his teammate, so it isn't as big as it could have been, but it's still, of course, good to have just everything that you can get. A 58.2 though, that's not really probably on for provisional pole for Wild Dog, although this looks to be very fast for him. The early status of sector 3. And here as well, not really any mistakes for the Ferrari in sector 3. Still keeping it very nicely on track and just using a lot of the track, and with that he goes onto provisional pole into the 35s, a 35.995 for Wild Dog. I know he's going to be very happy with that, to be at least on provisional pole. Has struggled especially during the races, but it's good to see him now with a very competitive lap time, of course, in P1. Probably the difference being that toe from the little one, as the Quick Killer almost loses the car out of turn 9, but the toe from the little one making that slight difference between P1 and P3. But maybe Quick Killer can just go into pole. I thought for a moment he would have invalidated there surely, but apparently just on the edge of the track limits, and he probably knows where they are and how to find them very nicely. Purple middle sector indeed for the Aston Martin. Can he go onto provisional pole and knock Wild Dog one place down? Using a bit too much curve there and hitting that big red curve under the hotel. That will slow him down ever so slightly. It probably shouldn't be slowing him down that much that it won't be pole. Although times for Quick Killer are a bit delayed, and he indeed goes onto provisional P1, and there's another victim of turn 2, and that's Nacho parking it on the left hand side of turn 2. It is very, very deadly for our drivers around that corner. I hope no one will find it that tricky in the race, but it is looking promising so far. If you're watching right now, just steer clear of turn 2's curb on the inside. Apparently lesson not really being learned by Nacho. Some bad examples being set in Q1 and Q2 as well for him, but he just took the risk and it really didn't pay off as fake Scouser. Has gone purple through this middle sector. Don't know how reliable that is, but 58.2 is around where Wild Dog was as well, I think. And he of course is currently in P2, so if fake Scouser can have a good last sector, he will at least go P2 and maybe even onto provisional pole. Just over 3 minutes left. The pressure is on for him. Can let him on the board, and he will get one on the board. Where does he go? And he goes into P5 with a 36.3, so slightly losing a little bit of time in the last sector, and he probably doesn't have time to go into the pit again and go out again in time to set another lap time, especially if he does this, and he is out as well. So fake Scouser, another one crashing out in Abu Dhabi. This time it was turn 3. Wild Dog checking up on fake Scouser. Indeed, that Mercedes car is totally wrecked, and P5 will be the best for fake Scouser, but it probably would have been anyway, so not really too much trouble for him. Makoni being again the first one to go out and settling on lap time. This time it is on the second run. He was the first on the first run. He is probably looking to be the first on the second run as well, to get maybe 2 laps in consecutively, or just if he managed to invalidate a big lift though through turn 3, because he really got on the curb much, and a slight improvement therefore, only 500s, but it will be enough to at least see him past Wild Dog if he matches his last 2 sectors at least. But of course, maybe even with newer tires right now, he's looking to go even faster now. And no Quick Killer down, he will indeed have time for 2 runs. As does the driver who go out right now, the likes of Quick Killer, Wild Dog, and Riordan. Riordan though being on the lap already, and he will have the traffic of a Ferrari and an Aston Martin. Hopefully they will get out the way very nicely. 8,000 improvement for Makoni, so he has lost time in the second sector, and he really needs to push now to gain back that time in the last sector and go faster than P3. Luckily for him though, you can go consecutive runs on this track, but the tires will be hotter and will be worse than the first run. But we know he can go faster than this anyway, because the second sector wasn't optimal, to say the least. Using up the track on the penultimate corner, the last corner goes slightly wide though, but he has got a very nice last sector with a 35.6, goes onto professional pole. Can Leon have something to say about that coming across the final corner now? No, but he does go into P3, just ahead of Wild Dog, the little one letting Quick Killer by, but Quick Killer is on outlap as well, so they are just warming their tires up there. Riordan is the next one to come across the line, but he has backed off his lap. KXI being 3/10 improvement already after 2 sectors, so he is looking to be on pole at least here. Professional pole for KXI will be the minimum I'm gonna expect now from this lap. And he should find some more time in the last sector. Carried a lot of speed there, maybe even a bit too much, but I think he has just managed that very nicely. Staring in at the 50 meters for turn 20. Now for turn 21, down to 4th. Another shorting out to 5th, and that is gonna cost him, and he loses traction out of the last corner. And that's qualifying over for KXR Riordan as well. Not really being able to go out again. Wild Dog has in the meantime gone second fastest, improvement by over 2 tenths. So great lap from him. Wild Dog quite quickly, slightly down through the first sector. Marconi, is he still on the lap? No, he was 1.5 seconds down. Leon, is he improving? I think he is by 2 tenths. And that is going to be very close between him and Paul. Let's see what Quickler can do through the second sector split. 1.5 tenths improvement. The little one though, 5 tenths improvement. But he is of course a bit further back right now. Leon goes on to provisional pole with a 35.3. Great lap from him so far. But it isn't over yet, as Quickler and the little one, two of the quickest drivers in this division, still need to set their lap times. But a mighty lap from Leon so far in the Red Bull. The question is if it will be enough. Quickler doesn't invalidate there somehow. But he did, just delayed. The little one though, so Quickler has spun as well. Where can the little one go? He goes on to pole with only 18 thousandths difference, and the Quickler, that will be P5 for him. But the little one makes it back-to-back poles now. Headed in Austria, headed now in Abu Dhabi as well. So he has come out of the break week on great form. And Leon as well with a very good lap time. Slightly better than his lap time in Q2. With a 600 improvement if I'm correct on that. And he starts on the front row as well. But the little one is the man currently on form. Second pole in a row for the Ferrari man with the Leon indeed. In second, Marconi in third. Once again, he looks to be always there or thereabouts. Not really on top in any of the sessions, but Wild Dog, very good qualifying for the Ferrari. Good to see him up this high again. Let's hope he can have a good race as well. I think last podium maybe in the second or third round in France or Monza it was, if I'm not mistaken. One of those two he got a podium, but after that it was all downhill for the Belgian driver Quickler, starting in P5 with KXI, alongside him Fix Kause, Riordan on the 4th row, and it is Nacho in P9, of course with Mario Huntsman in P10. But with the little one on mediums, Marconi, Wild Dog, Quickler on mediums, and Leon on softs, that is gonna be a big task for the Red Bull to pull away on those early laps and just show everyone the back of his car, or even better, just pull away so that they can't even see him. That is gonna be vital for his race. Otherwise, they'll just be caught out at the end of the race by the alt strat runners, of course. Yes, the formation lap here gets underway. I think everyone outside the top 10. No! I assumed everyone outside the top 10 was going to start on mediums. But this very split between everyone, with 5 choosing to start on mediums and the other 4 on softs. So it's only 8 soft runners and then 11 medium runners in this race. The little one had this exact same position last week because he had a soft runner behind him of Mazzles. And he managed to stay in front, and he, of course, he wants to do that again. Leon being very eager to go into P1 and pull a gap on as soon as possible. McConey on mediums indeed in P3. Wild Dog on mediums as well in P4. Quickler on mediums as well in P5. KXI in P6. Then it's Fake Skouser on mediums. P7. Riordan and Nacho both on softs in P8 and P9 respectively for those. Then Rory Huntsman and that guy Drapes mediums for the pair of them. P10 and P11 for them as well. Dragon on speed. P12 on the softs. Christopher on softs. And Fandango on softs. P12 through to P14. Then it's both Alpha Tauris with Murphy and Jacko. Murphy starting on mediums, Jacko on softs. So the Alpha Tauris splitting their strategy. Like most teams, Fandango as well choosing to start on different tires. Then Gautier Levelon, Tomo Tiptop and Dragon on speed. Different tires for them as well. AFL Leon, different tires. KXI and McConey, different tires. Warrior Huntsman and Riordan as well, of course. Fake Scouts and Christopher, so almost every team on the grid has went with two different strategies. I think it's only Aston Martin that has two drivers on the same tire. And until Gautier Levelon and AFL. AFL really slowing down to make sure his tires will be warm, especially compared to the likes of Gautier Levelon in front of him, who will have to wait a bit longer. Now slotting into his grid position, 18th on the grid, AFL 19th on the grid, just going into his position right now. Indeed is stationary, and there the green flags are. And it's gonna be 4 and 5 red lights for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and they're out straight away. And Leon looks to have a lot of wheel spin on the start. You can see his tire burns already on the start position from him, but he goes around the outside of McConey. Can he stick it around? No, really. Incident further down. Wild Dog dropping one position. Leon as well dropping one position. That's a really poor start from the soft tires. And now it is Quick Killer already on the back of Leon, side to side into turn 5. Will it end well? Turn 6 as well. A little bit of contact made, but I don't think there is damage. F1 making it through in one piece, but both Alpha Tauris though in 18th and 19th having horrible starts. The same can be said for Leon. You expect more from him if you start on the soft tires. Let's see. Position changes early on in the races as Leon almost broke himself, almost went into the back of McConey, but he just had enough reactions to make sure he didn't get any wing damage from that. So it's mostly 1 or 2 positions lost as AFL has gone for a spin in turn 9, so he is back down on last place. Deca Draper and Fandango going side to side, and Draper making his way in first. The little one has managed already to pull a gap of 1.23 seconds to McConey, so he's out of his DRS. Fandango losing yet another position to Jacko. Jacko being of course on the soft tires, is looking to make another position, but that is gonna be a very optimistic move there in the slow right-hander. That is not really a place where you want to go side to side, as shown there. Jagger losing multiple positions because of it. Couldn't overtake Draper and lost position to Fandango as well. KXI pitting, so he probably has lost some of his front wing on lap 1, starting in P6. AFL being also one to change his front wing. Indeed goes onto mediums and changes his front wing. It's not a great start from him. Dragon on speed being very close to Fake Scouser, of course with that tire advantage, looking to make a move rather sooner than later. Same can be said for Leon. And Little One has burned already a bit through his ERS to manage to pull that gap to McConey, but it has worked. So then it is of course worth it to have a little bit less DRS, but they have the track position. And Leon looks like he can't really keep up with McConey, even though he is on those faster tires. Not really any soft runner being close to a car in front of them. Christopher as well, almost dropping out of the medium DRS ahead of him. Dragging on speed, not really putting pressure on Felix Kauser anymore. It's more Felix Kauser putting pressure on Nacho, who is on softs. So it's looking like Draper has spun though, just at the beginning of sector 3, out of turn 13 it looks like. So his medium tires not really working for him, still struggling to find the grip there on the track. And he is around again, so his race is really not going to plan this far. The same can be said for Leon. Almost dropping out of the DRS, and that is Murphy round as well. In the penultimate corner, probably the orange chassis curve caught him out, and he is heading straight into the pit as well. It was already seen. 4 spinners, Decker Draper, only gone from bad to worse. Track speed though, he is now very close. Jacko has managed to indeed, that is turn 2 once again. Jacko hit it into the wall, probably, as we've seen in qualifying plenty of times. Just kissed that inside curb of turn 2. And his race has ended in the barrier. The left tire coming loose of the car. Really anything you can do about it. So there's now a virtual safety car. Let's see if any drivers are gonna make a pit stop. If there are, probably the safety car is gonna end before they're even gonna make it around to the pit entry. At least the drivers now have a chance to save some fuel, save some ERS back again if they already used it. Save the tires as well a bit. But it doesn't look like virtual safety car is going away just yet. Although it is now, and Leon was caught napping on that restart, and he has lost the DRS of McConey. But further down, dragging on speed, is now putting the pressure on Felix Kauser. A slight moment of oversteer for the McLaren though. That has freed the Mercedes in a bit of breathing space for behind them. Steering clear of that turn 2 curb, but one who hasn't steered clear of the curb enough is Leon. He was in P3, but turn 3 has caught him out as well, and he is around. Has he lost some of his front wing? It doesn't look like it, but he certainly has lost a lot of positions and a lot of time there. So he is out of the hunt for the lead at the moment. Quickly though, he is back into the podium positions. Felix Kauser making his way past Nacho with relative ease, although they're still side to side for turn 8. Nacho's choosing to stay behind, lining up a better exit, but he didn't really get it there. And now Dragon on Speed is looking for a move around the Alpine as well. Can he make it in turn 11? A yellow flag once again. It is for Draper, and that is Nacho staying ahead of Dragon on Speed. Dragon almost backing up all the way into Mario Huntsman, and he manages to stay ahead. Bit of oversteer for McLaren there again. So the softs not really working as they should. Just go on board with Nacho, and he has gone very deep and lost almost a DRS of Felix Kauser. Mediums indeed proving to be the better race tire, and Wild Dog proving to have a good race speed, although his ERS is looking very low. Fast lap of the race, and he is back in the DRS of Quickiller. Looking good for the Ferrari as he has gone a little bit wide through turn 1. Dragging all over the back of Nacho. You really gotta be careful now in this section that you don't get a lot of dirty air all in once, because that can happen, and then the car has just become uncontrollable. Bit like aquaplaning, but then just the dirty air can be miserable. Seen there as well A lot of wheel spin as well on the exit. Leon going for a pit stop, so probably has sustained a little bit of wing damage there. Fake Scouser just ahead of us, making the move on Riordan. Where does Dragon Speed go? He can't overtake Nacho because he has DRS, but Riordan now maybe looking for a good exit here, but he really didn't get that. Fake Scouser though was derating, so if he manages to get a good run, he would have gone past an AFL. And that's Leon round again at turn 3. As Murphy and Leon go side to side again. So turn 3, the worst enemy for Leon. Quick hitter back in the DRS of Marconi. So the race for the podium is heating up a little bit. Dragon Speed is still pushing and putting the pressure on Nacho. Murphy and AFL going side to side on the straight. Murphy getting past the Red Bull there. But this is the thing of Abu Dhabi. If AFL now can get a decent exit, he will re-overtake the AlphaTauri, especially with the little swabble that Murphy had on the exit. Riordan indeed getting past Fake Scouser. Fake Scouser has gone into the pit. He was on mediums. Has he gotten a little bit of wing damage, I wonder? Or is he just going for the 2-stop? No, it is indeed a wing change for him. Not really anything he wanted to happen, of course. Deca Draper there being a lap down coming out of the pit lane. His race is basically over. If you're a lap down, you just gotta unlap yourself, but that can be basically impossible, especially with the little one being so far ahead already. Dragon Speed there finally getting past Nacho, and Rory Huntsman now is looking to do the same on the Alpine, but both using ERS, and Nacho just having the better straight line speed compared to the Alfa Romeo. But just behind it is Christopher and Tom Tiptop going side to side. Christopher around the outside of the chicane, but it is up allowing Tom Tiptop to get a better run out of it. And Quick Killer as well making move past McConaughey for P2. Dragon Speed getting past Riordan for P5, and Wildog now being all over the back of McConaughey, but Ferrari with a very low amount of battery left in his car. It's a big train beginning to form all the way from P5 to P12. The mix of softs and mediums as well. The pace will be varied, and we'll probably we will be seeing some overtakes here still. Not done yet, as Tom Tiptop has had a little bit of a moment there. It's gone a little bit too wide, so his car was bouncing a bit off the curb. Rory Huntsman goes for a move on Nacho on the start-finish straight. You will not really see any moves being made here because there's no DRS, but Nacho going off track. Can he hold it around the outside? Yes, he can, especially as Rory Huntsman has gone onto the curb, but he has lost the car a little bit. Tom Tiptop and Rory Huntsman now going side to side. Christopher almost making a 3 wide into turn 5. Brake boards being shattered all across the track, and Christopher just having to stay behind. Fandango Gautier Levelon now going side to side. Both Williams is battling it out through turn 7. Big hairpin. They are still side to side for this straight, and Crestview is wanting to look into his mirrors. Gautier Levelon wisely backed out. Didn't want to fight his teammate. One who wants to fight is Rory Huntsman, but he indeed stays behind for turn 8, so he can get the DRS out of turn 11, especially with Nacho running very wide and getting a 3-second time penalty, the first penalty of this race, and that's going to be a very easy pass for the Alfa Romeo. Can Tom Tiptop as well make profit off of it? Yes, he can, because Nacho didn't have the DRS, but Nacho is braking later. They are hindered by the ghost of Deca Draper. Couldn't really do anything, but Nacho has gone for a half spin and he has collected a bit of a wing from Tom Tiptop. It's all kicking off in lap 6 and 7. Fandango being pushed off track by the McLaren as well, getting a 3-second time penalty. He can get that removed as long as he doesn't get any more warnings. There was a bit of hectic going on, and all this fighting has allowed Rory Huntsman to get away from that train, and he now is all over the back of his teammate Riordan. Deca Draper lapping himself from Rory Huntsman. And Gautier Levelon, Christopher and Tom Tiptop all pitting. I wonder if they all have to go for a new wing as well. Christopher indeed has to. Tom Tiptop safe as well. And Gautier Levelon has to change his wing as well. So it's 3 casualties out in one battle. And Wildog is slightly out of the DRS of McConey, and that is because he is currently derating out of his ERS. He is on 0%. That is gonna cost you a big amount of straight line speed. You didn't need to compromise at all in these couple of corners where Huntsman getting past his teammate, probably with the overspeed on the medium tires right now. Wildog has managed to get the DRS again as McConey goes for a move around the outside of Quick Killer, making it pretty easy. Just overtaking on the straight before the braking zone even came. And Rami Huntsman, he just had gotten past Riordan, and now he's gotten past Dragon on speed as well for P5 on track. But there's a big gap between Rami Huntsman and Wild Dog for P4 and P5. 8 seconds, more than 8 seconds separating those guys. And then as well, every driver outside of the top 10, including P10 itself, has already pitted. Fix cars are going onto a new set of mediums, so he needs to make another stop. Only 9 drivers so far managing to steer clear of any walls, any other cars. Managing to stay out on track. Gauthier Leflon now picking up a 3-second time penalty as well. Already what he would have wanted indeed. Front wings being given out for fun here. But Wilder now, he has caught up very nicely to this little train of Marconi and Quick Killer, so he probably needs to save his ERS a little bit more. He is using it now as well, but he doesn't need to. If he can just save his ERS, sit behind, charge his ERS, then he's gonna be in a much better position than where he currently is. With low battery, general speed has dropped out of the DRS of Ari Huntsman, and therefore Riordan is gonna make a pretty easy pass into the braking zone of turn 8. Indeed, has gone past the McLaren for P6 currently on track. Quick Killer, McConey squabbling it out, and Quick Killer making the pass on the Haas. As Murphy has retired in the same place where he has retired in qualifying. I wonder though, is that gonna bring out a safety car? Don't really think so, because there's no one close to him, so I think the marshals can just recover his car in time. It usually is indeed the case if there's no one really close to you. Second part of Leon, he went slightly wide though through turn 1. Indeed, the car has already been removed, so no safety car being brought out for Murphy, putting it into the wall. There are two main battles, of course, going on for P6 and P2. And Mario Huntsman in between them, bit in no man's land. And Nacho, the first one to bite the bullet and go into the pit lane for a proper pit stop onto the medium tires. He probably will rejoin in between KXI and Gauthier Leflon if all goes well for him and he doesn't hit the pit exit wall. Not really any moves being made underneath the track. A really cool pit exit, but also doable to get it wrong, and indeed comes out right in between Gauthier Leflon and KXI. Now he has this fresh air to push and get ahead of Fandango in the undercut, and maybe even Dragon on speed and Riordan, because he was in that train. And Riordan with that flashing light is holding up Dragon on speed here. McConey and Quick Killer just staying behind each other for another lap. Wilder as well choosing to stay behind them. Dragon on speed though, he has gotten past Riordan on the straight as well. So no real time loss there for those drivers, just yo-yoing a bit between position, making sure they get a bit of tire life for both of them as well, just playing the long game. As for Riordan, actually he needs to play the short game a bit more if he wants to get that DRS off of Dragon on speed. But of course it doesn't really matter if you go into the pit right now, and I think he should do that because he is losing the DRS now, and Fandango is all over the back of Riordan, but Riordan staying out. And I don't think that's the right call, because Riordan low on ERS, well, basically the same as Fandango of course, but he doesn't have that DRS off of Dragon, so he is gonna just lose time to Nacho, unless he doesn't think mediums are gonna make it to the end from now. But if you can do 11 laps on softs, you definitely can do 17 laps on mediums, as well as Fandango has gone out and he has retired on track out of turn 3, the same place where Murphy has retired. Stay on board with fake scouts. Is that gonna be a safety car then? He is on track. Surely that is gonna be some sort of safety car. It isn't disabled. We've seen a virtual safety car already early in this race, but the game just doesn't think he's in a dangerous location, and it has continued on. So both crashes in turn 3, not resulting in any sort of safety car. As Leon, I think, yeah, no, that's AFL. AFL in turn 2, he has spun. I thought it was Leon, but that has brought out the safety car. So apparently crashing into turn 3 doesn't really matter, but as long as you don't crash in turn 2, the safety car isn't gonna come out. But that is exactly what AFL has done. And there is a safety car. And this is the opportunity as well for Draper to unmap himself if the guys ahead of him dive into the pit lane. And the little one indeed does. But Quick Killer stays out. So that is McConey as well. Wild Dog biting the bullet, following his teammate into the pit. He shouldn't get held up by any means. Warrior Huntsman as well into the pit lane. So varied strategies. Little one onto softs. Where does Wild Dog go onto? Slightly held up, but it shouldn't cost him any positions. Onto the softs as well. I think you can make him to the end at juggling speed, of course, and Riordan going onto the medium tires. That will be the best strategy for now. But softs for the little one and Wild Dog, they are looking to be in a very strong position right now. Vic Scouts is staying out as well, but everyone behind them going into the pit lane. Wild Dog and the little one, though, on fresh soft tires behind Quick Killer and McConey on old mediums. Not sure the top two made the right strategy call. The safety car will stay out for a couple more laps. So around lap 14, lap 15 we will go racing again. Depends on how fast, of course, these drivers have all caught up. But it's really unfortunate for Draper, still not able to unlap himself, because those two stayed out. If they went into the pit lane, Draper would have been able to unlap himself. Then he would have had every chance at this race. Once again, of course, less than everyone in front of him, but still a chance nonetheless. And now it is pretty the horizon is far away for the Aston Martin in P15. He will still score points, of course, so no really need to retire the car. But it's very unfortunate for him that he wasn't able to unlap himself. So not in a shot for any of the positions ahead. Guys, I'm not sure on which tire he started. I have a quick look. If he started on mediums as well, so he needs to make another stop. Probably should have gone into the pit lane and go onto the softs as well, because now it is dragging on speed on for a professional podium as well. If it stays like this, of course, no further safety car. Fake Scouts are there, follows my advice and goes into the pit lane. A lap late, but it's still into the pit lane nonetheless, under a safety car, and he will come out somewhere in P12, P13, around there. Safety car is gonna continue for another lap, so quickly grab some water and we'll be right back with you. safety car is in this lap. I didn't expect really that because Leon was still far back. Let's stay on board with McConey to see where Quickler is going to go on his gas, and he goes now, and he caught McConey slightly off guard. And the little one, oh, McConey has spun, he's round on the final corner, and he has retired as well. So he has spun out on lap 14, lap 13 even, out of P2, out of the race, all the way down now to P15. So that's really, really unfortunate for him, but it's also not good news for the little one, because he now has to catch back up to Quickler, but he already has done that, so no worries in that regard. Waldock as well, being able to follow the little one, but not as well as he probably would have wanted. Already out of the DRS, Rari Huntsman is now looking to gain that podium position off of the Ferrari, but he isn't just doing that yet. Waldock now, he needs to push to get the DRS off of his teammate. Talking about his teammate, he is lining up a move for Quickler. So the Indian driver really needs to watch his mirror. Fake Scouser getting his way past KXI. But let's see if the little one is able to go for a move, but he is just too far back. And he lifted as well for turn 11. Fake Scouser making even more moves. Past Tomo Tip-Top now as well is the Mercedes, so he is on a good way. That guy Draper getting past, getting out of the way. So he needs hope for another safety car and everyone to pit. But the race isn't looking good for him, but it is looking very, very promising for both Ferraris, because they are in P2 and P3, and Waldock has got back up to the DRS of the little one in Quickler. Quickler though still in front, but I think if the DRS gets enabled this lap, which it of course didn't, because they will need 2 racing laps before the DRS gets enabled after every restart from a safety car and actual restart, of course. Quickly getting a bit out of shape out turn 1, the only one still on the tires he started on. The little one looking for a move down to turn 5, but Waldock has made a mistake, or has Wario Huntsman just gone for a very good move? It's one of those two, but Wario Huntsman is up to P3, and the little one now is so close to Quickler and little one both using ERS. Quickler though a bit more, so I think it is gonna be tough for the little one. They are gonna go side to side. The battle for the lead is really here. Quickler just behind the little one now for turn 8, and it is now up to Wario Huntsman and the Waldock to follow the little one through. Is Wario Huntsman already close enough? Just not. Waldock as well. He needs to stay back and just wait by this time. Fake Scouts are making yet another move past Gutsy Levelon now. He is on a roll these last couple of laps. Tom Tip-Top getting passed by Christopher as well. And Christopher and Tom Tip-Top have come together. And it's Tom Tip-Top round and into 13th place. Not really sure who was at fault there. Just tricky corners to go side to side. Wario Huntsman is really all over the back of Quickler now. It's only a matter of time before the Alpha gets past the Aston Martin. Wario Huntsman though getting a lot of oversteer on the first corner. Waldock is now very close on the back, but Dragonal Speed was even closer to Waldock, almost making contact with the Ferrari, but just managing to avoid it, luckily. Could we see here a double pass from both Alfa Romeo and the Ferrari, both with that Tomo Tip-Top has crashed out as well in turn 3, but from prior experience it probably won't be a safety car. Can Waldock follow Wario Huntsman through on Quickler? Quickler goes to the left, a slight bit of contact, and probably Waldock won't be happy with that, but it is currently still P3 for Quickler and P4 for Waldock. Just couldn't really be close enough, and now Dragonal Speed is all over the back of Waldock, and Waldock is derating, so he's gonna be pretty slow on the straights, and Dragonal Speed is and a bit further back. It is that guy Trapen crashing out of P14, and now only 12 runners remain And this is the opportunity for Quickler to go into the pit lane and put on his fresh set of soft tires. The little one, Warrior Huntsman and Wild Dog now pretty certain they will make it to the end on those softs though. As Warrior Huntsman, interestingly, he goes into the pit as well. Both Ferraris staying out. As everyone else. Cotilla Flondo into the pit as well, makes sense, he was on pretty old tires, and Christopher and Leon into the pit, they won't lose anything from it. So now top 7 staying out, and then it's the bottom 5 into the pit lane. And Ferrari 1-2 for the moment. Quickler is gonna need to make a lot of positions. Warrior Huntsman has gone onto the mediums yet again, so he probably didn't have a fresh set of soft tires left, I must assume. But he won't be in the best position with mediums, of course. They are fresh mediums, so he will be fast. Quickler behind him will be even faster than him. Safety car will most likely be in this lap. Everyone being next to each other, only 3 drivers with penalties. Nacho, Gatiella, Flon and Leon. With these late safety cars, they will be losing a lot of positions because of those. It's the little one now leading the way from his teammate Wild Dog with Dragon on speed in P3. He started all the way down in P12, so he has gone a really good race so far. Rioran in P4 making up 4 positions, as has Nacho. He's in P5, KXI in P6 stays where he began. And then it's Warrior Huntsman, the first on the fresh tires in P7, Quickler in P8, the first on the fresh soft tires, Quickler Gatti Levelon in P9, Christopher in P10, Leon P11, Fixkauser P12 at the moment. But let's see where the little one is gonna choose to step on the gas. Probably both Ferraris wanting to work together, of course, to secure the 1-2. And the little one has gone early, and the Wild Dog is pretty far back already. And he's already out of the 1 second, even before the last corner. So it's really not a good restart from Wild Dog, who is caught napping massively. And he needs to put in a big shift to get back in that DRS, but he is still losing time, and Dragon of Speed now is all over the back of Wild Dog. Wild Dog, I think, has disconnected from the lobby. That is the worst thing that could have happened to him. He was P2, finally on the way for a good result, and then this happened. That is so unfortunate for him. Just the worst timing possible as well. Quicker than making his way past Barry Huntsman. I'm quickly gonna try to invite the Wild Dog, put a bit of tape on his wounds for how far that is possible. I said just in the background, Quicker making a move on KXI, and he broke very late, almost making a move on Nacho as well, but he just manages to stay clear of that. But all this has meant that little one is way away from everyone in the field. Christopher, Fixkauser and Leon going 3 wide into turn 11. A little bit of contact made, and Leon is being pushed off the circuit entirely by both Mercedes. No love lost there, and getting a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. He probably can get that removed because he had nowhere to go, of course, and didn't really gain anything, although maybe he did. That's the thing. Nacho cutting that corner, and he is now on 6 seconds, and Quicker making his way past. He is in P5, so the chase is on for the Aston Martin for a podium at least, because podium is in reach. Only one driver separating himself and a podium. Wild Dog being back now. P5, not too shabby, of course. Way down from where he was. Gatti Levelon, Nacho going side to side. And Nacho impressively managing to stick it around the outside on all the tires and on the worst tires as well. And he manages to stay in that position. Quickiller in P4, battle with Riordan. In P3, slight bit of contact, because Riordan was just bouncing off of those curbs, and I think it's still side to side between both drivers, but Quicker just with better traction on the soft tires, getting past Riordan. But Riordan isn't just giving up, tucks in behind, and Wild Dog with a lot of overspeed went into the wall there, and Quicker has gone damage as well. Wild Dog went so much faster than both drivers and went into the wall. I don't know if Wild Dog has damage or it's just Quicker, but Quicker is dropping back. He is now in P9. That is disastrous for him. Riordan is all over the back now of Wild Dog. Wild Dog back in the podium positions. That's of course something we all want, because he was there before his internet, and we don't want anything external to decide the outcome of this race. Nacho going a little bit wide once again, and Quicker only going from bad to worse in this lap 20 for him. Riordan all over the back of Wild Dog, almost making contact with the Ferrari under the hotel, managing to not get that little one. 5.7 seconds clear of Dragon of Speed. I don't think his race victory is gonna come in doubt, but the battle for the podium is still very much on, all the way down to P8. Fixkauser having a little look on the inside of Gatti Levelon, couldn't quite make it stick. Christopher as well, and Riordan and Wild Dog going side to side, and therefore Nacho now is having a look on the inside of Riordan, but backs out of it, and Christopher therefore is making his way past Nacho. Nacho off track though has gone his way past again. Fixkauser and Gatti Levelon going side to side. The Williams just a bit squirrely on the exit, and therefore the Mercedes has gone past, and now he needs to chase after his teammate. Very close here in the battle for the podium, and Riordan making a move on Wild Dog side to side into turn 8. Who's gonna come out on top? Is it the soft of Wild Dog, is the mediums or of Riordan? And it is the mediums of Riordan, making his way past Wild Dog. Nacho following as well, and Riordan does have DRS. Is this gonna be 3 wide? No, it isn't, because Wild Dog is hit the back of Riordan, and again Riordan really slowed down Wild Dog, and therefore fake Scouser now is into P4, and Riordan is round after contact with the Mercedes. So it's Riordan, after being in a podium position, is now finding himself all the way down into P10, and Wild Dog needs to get a hurry on, otherwise he's gonna drop out of the DRS. Or does he have wing damage? At least isn't visible, but considering by the amount of time he's losing, he surely has some wing damage, and Godzilla Fallon all over the back of him, even side to side now into turn 20. Is it going all well? Yes, it is, just narrowly, and Wild Dog into the pit, so that confirms he had wing damage. It's heartbreaking to see for him. He was definitely on for a podium, but now an unlikely candidate, to say the least. Fake Scouser finds himself in a net podium position, of course, with the penalties of Nacho. Leon even in P8, he was almost a lap down at some point, and now he is in P8. That just shows to never give up. Wild Dog all the way down in P11. Probably gonna battle it out with Quick Hitter for P11, although Quick Hitter is a bit ahead of him. Fake Scouser getting his way past Nacho. Not really anything the Alpine can do, just a sitting duck. Probably the same as Godzilla Fallon will be on the next straight. As you're getting a pretty good exit, even on those warm mediums. Sai indeed making his way past Godzilla Fallon. Nothing that Williams could have done there. And now the chase is on for Fake Scouser on Dragon on speed, of course. Currently the Mercedes has the advantage of the tires, but probably will swing into the direction of the Mercedes, into his hands. Gaps now really starting to form. Godzilla Fallon, he needs to stick with KXI on 5 lap open softs. We saw in the earlier stages of this race that the softs really go off very quickly. They're still intact for the Williams. Riordan making his way past Leon for P8 on track. With the penalties of Leon, it doesn't really matter if he finishes ahead of him or behind him on track. Now everyone is slightly spread out, no one really in DRS distance except for Leon, of course, and Wild Dog in P12. Quick and Wild Dog looking on for a podium both at some point in this race, but it all has come to smithereens for both of them. Quick Killer with contact with Wild Dog on the straight. Wild Dog just having big advantage of straight line speed, and he's probably gonna have that again. Indeed, he has fakes to the left, goes to the right, getting past Quick Killer, but now the S Martin is probably gonna look to get back on Wild Dog with a bucket load of ERS compared to the Ferrari. Indeed, with DRS, nothing Wild Dog could have done, just a sitting duck on the straight. Warrior Huntsman getting a 3-second time penalty that probably won't change anything for his position in the race. Fake Scouser is now really pushing to get into the DRS of Dragon on speed. And with that mistake from the McLaren as well, we saw just out of turn 1, he is now on 1.1 seconds. Not too far back, but his ERS is running out, only 5% left in his battery. If he has a good 35, 6, 7, which he does, don't think he is just gonna have the DRS yet though. Maybe on the next occasion. He is currently in the 1 second, and Dragon isn't using his ERS, so that is gonna be confirmed that Fake Scouser will have the DRS on this next opportunity, unless he makes a big mistake through turns 8 and 9, which it looks like he doesn't. It's the apex very nicely as well, and he got a very good exit, but his ERS is running out. very quickly, already on 0% momentarily there on the straight, and therefore he isn't just gonna get past Dragon Speed. He needs to wait one more lap. Is Christopher in a position to make a move on Gautier Leflon? Not too far back. Wildog though is in a position to make a move past Quickhill as they continue to squabble over P11 and P12. Gautier Leflon with another penalty, I think. Indeed, with 6 seconds now, that is gonna put Riordan even up one position. Let's have a look on the gap on the leader as Quickhill and Wildog swap positions once again. Need Riordan, if he can get a little bit of pace out of that Alfa Romeo still, maybe he even can find himself in P6 after what was a little bit of an truffle that 20 and lap 19 for the Alfa Romeo, just dropping back every single corner almost, having a spin. Of course, that's what caused his sudden backfall. Now Fake Scouse is very close to Dragon of Speed. He was more than a second back on last lap and he got very close into turn 11, and now he's only 4/10 back, so he probably is gonna make the move already into turn 8. But that isn't what you always want. We've seen it with Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen in Bahrain and Saudi Arabia. You can just overtake if there's a DRS straight right after the other. Dragon of Speed going very close to Scouse here. Bit wide though. And Fake Scouse though making the move stick on Dragon and making his way into P2, and now he really needs to pull that gap between, because Dragon has got the DRS advantage. Christopher making his way past Gautier Leflon and Wildog and Quickhill continuing to squabble for P11. Probably another move in the making here. This time it is going to be the Aston Martin past the Ferrari if he is close enough, but I don't think he is. Not using his ERS either. Just staying behind for the moment. Dragon though still managing to stay relatively close to Fake Scouse, especially with that mistake the Mercedes just made in turn 6. He's on 6/10 right now, and with that ERS advantage he knows he has it because he sees the red light on the Mercedes flashing. Probably gonna make the move into turn 11, braking at 100 meters very nicely for him, still in the race. Fake Scouse hopping over that curb a bit too much, so therefore his exit is gonna be way worse than Dragon's. And Dragon here getting past the Mercedes car with relative ease. Although Fake Scouse fights it, brakes later than the McLaren, and they go side to side, although Dragon of Speed there, he is ahead of the Mercedes. That is done and does it for the time being. And with Quickhill being dropped by Wildog as well, the only real battle going on is P2 and P3. Then it's Gautier Leflon and Christopher still managing to stay in each other's DRS with low ERS for both of them. And the little one, he's just controlling the gap, still around 8 seconds. All tires, of course. He doesn't really need to push. He only has 2 more laps to go around. Only twice 21 laps now in turn 3. He can have a nice Sunday drive to the finish and he will still win this race. The big question is though, who will come in second? Mario Huntsman and Leon close to each other as well. Leon having the benefit of ERS there, but having a little bit of moment out of turn 1, and this Mario Huntsman and Leon side to side in turn 2, and Mario Huntsman making a good aggressive move there. Elbows out, but nothing wrong with it, of course. And he makes his way up into P9. Fake Scouse burning his gears, using the high revs to just stay behind Dragon of Speed, not reaching that top speed that he otherwise would have. and he's gonna go for the move here. But the question if it is a wise thing to make a move on lap 27, because Dragon with more ERS can probably get him back on the last lap, and then you're just a sitting duck on the straights if the McLaren decides to use all its ERS there. Let's stay on board with Dragon Speed for this last lap. Already using his ERS a little bit, around 25% more than the Mercedes, and he really needs to get it together in this last lap, of course. And now the first sector to stay in the DRS. And then it's gonna be interesting whether he decides to make a move into turn 8, into the first chicane, or if he just is gonna wait on the second opportunity to make a move into turn 11. He is 7/10 back, so I think he's playing this strategically, just being too far back that he really can't make an overtake, but he is gonna be close enough to fake Scouser to get a good run through the chicane and then overtake him on the second straight. I think that is what Dragon is doing indeed. I think that is gonna prove to be the right strategy. Slight lock up on the left front tire, nothing too major. He's very close, and Fake Scouser is running out of ERS. Is he gonna make the move though? It is gonna be a short run, and he goes into the left. He faked the right, went onto the left, and nothing Fake Scouser could have done. Although he went for a switchback, still side to side in the last sector, and Fake Scouser with a brilliant switchback on the McLaren manages to keep his P2 away from the German in the McLaren. But of course the little one, not really anything to say about him, because he was just in the league of his own for the part after the second restart. And the little one coming across the final corner, and he wins in Abu Dhabi as well. Gautier Levelon crashes out on the last lap. That's a weird place to crash as well. Probably got on the curb a bit too much, so everyone behind him is gonna move up one position. Fix Scouser coming home in P2. Dragon Speed completing the podium. KXI with a very solid result in P4. Christopher in P5, Nacho P6, Riordan P7, and Warrior Huntsman in P8. With Wild Dog, Leon, and Quick Killer, the last two swapped around. Rounding up the actual finishes, only 11 finishes here in Abu Dhabi, turns 2 and turn 3, proving to be very, very deadly. For the drivers tonight. It is the little one with a back-to-back win, back-to-back pole as well. So he got... Did he have the fastest lap as well? Just gonna see that. No, he hasn't. So it isn't 2 perfect rounds in a row, but it is perfect enough for the little one, of course. Winning again here in Abu Dhabi, and with Quick Killer finishing in P10, he is closing the gap in the championship, and maybe there is gonna be a fight for the title after all. So little one and Fake Scouser, the top 2, Dragon on Speed, rounding up the podium. KXI in P4, Christopher P5, Nacho P6 with Riordan and Mario Huntsman, both Alfa Romeos finishing right next to each other in P7 and 8. Wild Dog P9, Quickly in P10, Wild Dog, it's Leon in P11, Gautier Levelon being classified because he of course crashed out on the last lap, have completed more than 75%. He is P12, and then the non-finishes are Tom with Tap Top, That Guy Drapes, Maconi, Fandango, AFL, Murphy and Jacko. That's it for tonight as well. Gonna have to go somewhere else right now. But I thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you again next week as we go into Imola with a sprint race as well. I thought, but it isn't. That is going to be in 2 weeks time, but next week it is Imola for Tier 3. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you next time.